cold, whispering woods of Maryland hold a terrifying secret that's been waiting to be uncovered. Do you dare venture into the shadows to uncover the haunting origins of the Blair Witch legend? In today's deep dive, we're unearthing the chilling roots of the Blair Witch tale, a story that has sent shivers down the spine of countless souls. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, the eerie history behind this legend will leave you questioning what's lurking just beyond your sight. We'll explore how the past and present intertwine to create one of the creepiest legends of our time, setting the stage for the Hollywood phenomenon that followed. So, prepare yourself as we delve into mystery, myths, and mayhem. Picture yourself in 18th century Maryland, a land untouched by streetlights or the constant sound of passing cars, an altogether different world filled with the dense, whispering woods of the Black Hills. The winds carry the faintest echoes of stories told around campfires, myths that cloak the region in a shroud of mystery. At the heart of these stories is a woman named Ellie Kedward, whose name would soon become synonymous with fear. Ellie Kedward, an outcast in the town of Blair, Maryland, stands accused of witchcraft after several local children claim she lured them into her home to draw blood. In those days, fear and superstition ran through communities like wildfire, and accusations like these were often all it took to seal a person's fate. Once declared guilty, Ellie was banished from the village during the harsh winter, a sentence that was as good as a death warrant. However, when winter thawed and the townsfolk ventured back into the woods, what came next would be etched into their collective consciousness forever. According to the legend, those who had accused her vanished, as did many children. The townspeople, gripped by panic, abandoned Blair, and with that, the town itself disappeared into the pages of obscure history. Like any good ghost story, the memory of Ellie Kedward was far from dead. The tale of the Blair Witch began to circulate around the region, evolving with each telling. It transformed from a mere ghost story to a cautionary tale, wielding power like a whispered curse over the generations. Parents in neighboring towns would speak of Ellie's curse to their children to keep them from wandering too far into the woods. Stories emerged of eerie sounds wafting through the forest, children's voices that vanished as you drew near, and figures that seemed to flicker at the edge of your vision. For years, the Blair Witch floated through the folklore of the area like a phantom in the mist. Her story became a vessel for the fears and anxieties of a people anchored to an untamed and often unforgiving land. Each iteration of the tale reflected a cultural mosaic built from fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of societal collapse, fear of the woods themselves. But why did Ellie Kedward become the character at the heart of this malevolent legend? Why her, when Salem was the notorious home of America's witch trials? Some historians and folklorists suggest that Ellie's story persisted because it was a hyper-local legend, specific to the area, and therefore more tangible to the locals. Ellie became a symbol of the misunderstood, the ostracized, and possibly the falsely accused. Others believe her legend endured because it is rooted in a very natural and primal fear of being hunted, of being pursued by an entity that cannot be reasoned with or understood. As with all enduring legends, the truth of the Blair Witch is difficult to parse from the fiction. Archaeological digs and historical records have found minimal conclusive evidence of Ellie Kedward's existence or of her purported witchcraft. Some skeptics argue that the entire Blair Witch legend, including Ellie Kedward's character, is a fabrication stitched together by local storytellers across generations to personify fear itself. Yet, the story persists, threading through modern culture and refusing to fade into obscurity. The memory of what might have happened in Blair has become immortal in the imaginations of those who wander the woods or watch movies that whisper chilling truths and convincing fictions. So, what do you believe? Is the Blair Witch just a tale spun to keep children from wandering into the woods? Or is there a dark truth waiting to be uncovered among the trees? As we wrap up this chapter, we've only scratched the surface of the Blair Witch's influence. Her story doesn't end here. It continues to spiral into a chilling narrative that has gripped popular culture around the world, ready to plunge deeper into the dark heart of this chilling saga. Stay tuned for the next chapter where we reveal how this terrifying folklore was sculpted into a groundbreaking cinematic phenomenon. Don't miss it. It's about to get even more intriguing. The Blair Witch Project isn't just a movie. It's a phenomenon that spurred nightmares and conspiracies around the world. We'll delve into how a few visionary filmmakers turned a simple idea into a global sensation, from the initial sparks of creativity to the innovative marketing campaign that had everyone questioning what they thought was real. Hold on to your hats, because this is a story that'll make you question shadows. It's the early 90s, and a couple of aspiring filmmakers, Eduardo Sanchez and Daniel Myrick, are vexed by the same question that's been plaguing horror fans for ages. Why is it that nothing ever truly scared them after watching a horror flick? They realized the missing piece: realism. That's when they decided to blur the lines between fact and fiction, cooking up an idea that would leave audiences wondering if they'd stumbled upon the discovery of the century. The concept was as simple as it was brilliant. 3 student filmmakers set out to make a documentary about a local urban legend, the Blair Witch. But what if these filmmakers disappeared, leaving behind only their footage? This idea wasn't just born overnight in a fit of inspiration. Sanchez and Myrick spent countless coffee-fueled nights developing a storyline they could pass off as truth, creating the blueprint for the found footage genre that would haunt us for years to come. Turning an abstract idea into a tangible masterpiece was no walk in the park. Casting was their first major hurdle. Instead of going with well-known actors, they opted for unknown talents to maintain authenticity. After a painstaking audition process where they made actors improvise situations, they found Heather Donahue, Michael C. Williams, and Joshua Leonard, who were all ready to give the performance of a lifetime. Production, however, was nothing short of a logistical nightmare. Shot over 8 grueling days in the woods of Maryland, the filmmakers designed the process to mimic the storyline. The actors were given outlines instead of scripts and left to roam the forests with very little guidance, often having the story unfold for them as it would for their characters. This method, while ingenious, took a toll on the actors' nerves, making the fear captured on camera remarkably genuine. However, the true stroke of genius came long after the footage was in the can. What truly sets the Blair Witch Project apart isn't just the film itself, but the marketing juggernaut that followed. In a time when the internet was not yet a household fixture, the filmmakers leveraged it to their advantage. They launched a website that touted the myth of the Blair Witch and the mysterious disappearance of the students, complete with fabricated police reports and interviews. Fans and soon the media were hooked. The beauty of this viral campaign lay in its ability to blur the boundaries between reality and fiction, capitalizing on the public's love of a good mystery and their curiosity about the unknown. This wasn't just a marketing strategy, it was pure psychological warfare. The world had never seen anything quite like it, and people were frantic to know the truth. But here's where things get really wild. There wasn't an endless budget or a major studio backing them. The entire film was made on a shoestring budget of around $60,000, a stark contrast to Hollywood blockbusters. This lack of resources turned into a blessing in disguise. The grainy footage and minimalistic approach added to the authenticity, giving viewers the uneasy sense that what they were watching could actually have happened. Then, there was the midnight screening at the Sundance Film Festival in 1999, a pivotal moment that catapulted the film into the mainstream stratosphere. Audience members left the theater genuinely rattled, urging their friends to see it for themselves. Word of mouth spread like wildfire, and before anyone knew it, the Blair Witch Project achieved cult status, pulling in nearly $250 million worldwide and forever altering the landscape of horror cinema. Imagine standing on the precipice of something monumental, not entirely sure if you will soar or plummet. For Sanchez and Myrick, their gamble paid off spectacularly. They had taken fans along for an exhilarating roller coaster ride, one teetering on the edge of reality and fiction, and it worked like a charm. However, it raises an intriguing question. How do you reclaim the magic of a legend once it's laid bare? As we move forward in our investigation, we'll uncover how the Blair Witch Project impacted the horror genre, examine the speculations it stirred, and dive deeper into what makes a myth transform into a cultural phenomenon. When the Blair Witch Project hit theaters in 1999, few could predict how this low-budget indie film would revolutionize the horror landscape. With its shaky camera and ominous realism, the film not only terrified viewers, but also left a lasting impression on how movies are made and perceived. But what exactly is it about this haunting tale that made such an impact? Why did audiences walk away feeling so disturbed? And how did it pave the way for future films? Released at a time when Hollywood was filled with big-budget blockbusters, the Blair Witch Project stood out, a film that looked like a raw, authentic documentary. Picture this. You're watching as 3 film students venture into the woods, attempting to film a documentary about the local legend of the Blair Witch. But what they uncover, or what they think they uncover, takes them to the edge of insanity. This wasn't just any horror film, it was the pioneer of the found footage genre. By using handheld cameras and presenting the film as if the lost tapes had just been discovered, it created an eerily immersive experience. It felt real, and that's what sent shivers down every spine in the theater. Being the trailblazer of the found footage genre, the Blair Witch Project inspired countless films that followed, from Paranormal Activity to Cloverfield. The technique allowed audiences to feel like they were a part of the story, not mere spectators. It was a radical departure from traditional horror films, shifting from pristine cinematography to gritty first-hand terror. This style eliminated the safety of watching from a distance. You weren't just watching the characters' experiences, you were living them, feeling every rustle of the leaves and every shaky breath. This, combined with the anticipation of the unseen, played with our primal fears of the unknown, the dark, and the isolated. But the impact wasn't just structural. Whether the film spooked you or not, there was no escaping the frenzy it caused. Picture leaving the theater and finding yourself glancing over your shoulder, wondering if someone or something is watching. The Blair Witch Project tapped into the fear of being hunted and the paranoia of an unseen presence. Its minimalist approach left your imagination to fill in the horrifying blanks, and that's what made it linger in the mind long after the credits rolled. Audiences were divided, with some enthralled and others bewildered by its realism. Yet, everyone engaged in heated debates on what they saw. The film sparked a cultural discussion that went beyond just cinema, venturing into folklore, legend, and the nature of fear itself. Then there's the incredible box office triumph, a triumph no one saw coming. With a budget estimated at around $60,000, the Blair Witch Project raked in nearly $250 million worldwide. It was like winning the lottery while fishing in a pond. Critics praised its innovative method and raw emotional depth. While some criticized it for its unorthodox style, the buzz was undeniable. It was a jackpot for its creators and a testament to the power of story over special effects. The Blair Witch Project laid bare the simple ingredients needed for terror, a chilling tale and the audience's imagination. But what is it about the Blair Witch Project that made waves, causing filmmakers everywhere to sit up and take note? The challenge it faced was immense. In a world dominated by CGI monsters and elaborate storylines, a film with no-name actors and unsteady camera work seemed destined for obscurity. But therein lay its genius. The challenge was also its strength. By stripping away the gloss and leaving raw fear, it connected deeply with viewers' emotions and fears. It challenged industry norms, proving that heart-pounding fear didn't need high production costs. As audiences packed theaters, the experience was a masterful mix of dread and disbelief. Would films ever be the same? What seemed like a risky venture suddenly turned into an industry phenomenon. The key moment here was when viewers had to face the ambiguity and choose what to believe. It blurred the lines between fact and fiction, cleverly manipulating the audience into questioning their own realities. No neat endings, just a sense of unsettling mystery that left a trail of questions in its wake. Ultimately, the Blair Witch Project rewrote the rules, showing how powerful a story can be, even when, or especially when, it lets the audience's imagination do the heavy lifting. It was a film of firsts, from the genre it created to the way it engaged audiences and made money. It redefined fear and re-established the value of a compelling narrative in cinema. Let's rewind to the late 90s. The horror genre was languishing in predictability. Yet just as moviegoers were starting to yawn, the Blair Witch Project burst onto the scene and rewrote the script. Imagine standing at the crossroads of a cultural revolution, and that's exactly what happened after the Blair Witch Project hit screens in 1999. The film, shot on a shoestring budget but delivering a pounding heartbeat of terror, became an overnight phenomenon. Its success wasn't just a fluke. It left a legacy that filmmakers have been chasing for decades. The first sequel, Book of Shadows: Blair Witch 2, arrived just a year later, aiming to capitalize on its predecessor's success, but faltered for not embracing the same raw, found-footage authenticity. Critics called it a disappointment, while fans were left with a cosmic question mark. Yet, this sequel wasn't the end. The witch, it seemed, had cast an unbreakable spell. In 2016, over 15 years later, Blair Witch sought to revive the same thrill. Directed by Adam Wingard, this sequel tapped into the nostalgia vein while incorporating modern technology, drones, GPS. all in a bid to recapture the raw fear that gripped audiences in the late 90s. Though it garnered a warmer reception than its immediate predecessor, it still left some fans hungry for the original's organic tension. But does a film's influence truly end with its last frame, or does it linger like an unshakable ghost? In the case of The Blair Witch Project, its influence on horror filmmaking is indisputable. The found footage genre, a bottom-of-the-barrel technique in the 90s, suddenly became the flavor of the cinematic world. Films like Paranormal Activity and Cloverfield rode on the coattails of this handheld, shaky cam phenomenon, taking audiences on roller coaster rides that quickened pulses and shattered nerves. Its impact stretched beyond film. Video games, novels, and even board games emerged, each adding layers to the story, enriching the universe that first sprang from that cursed forest. As we navigate this labyrinth of spin-offs and sequels, it becomes crucial to distinguish reality from myth. The Blair Witch, after all, exists in a space where truth twists like the limbs of a gnarled tree. Stories still circulate about the woods in Burkittsville, Maryland, blurring the lines between wicked folklore and reality. Tourists flock there, hoping to catch a glimpse of the supernatural, or perhaps just to feel a twinge of the chilling excitement that the lore still exudes. Yet herein lies a paradox. The curse of the Blair Witch is less about the witch and more about the persistent echo it left behind. The legend sustains itself through our insatiable craving for mystery, ensuring it will never rest. The sun may set on Burkittsville, but shadows endure, casting doubt and intrigue that keeps the tale spinning. This very myth is the witch's legacy. It's the narrative that survives unyielding, reminding us that what's terrifying isn't the darkness itself, but the narratives we spin in its absence. In unraveling the tale of the Blair Witch, we find that some legends never truly die. Instead, they wrap themselves around our consciousness, refusing to let go. And while we've delved into its sequels and looked at its undeniable impact on the horror genre, the true climax lies in the realization that the myth of the Blair Witch thrives, not by proof or denial, but through the stories shared around campfires, whispered in hushed tones, or played out in darkened theaters. Ever thought about what really lurks behind the name Blair Witch? It's time to separate reality from smoke and mirrors. For years, the haunting story of the Blair Witch has captivated imaginations. It's whispered in dark rooms, scrawled across forums, and immortalized on film. But the magic of this legend lies in its smoke and mirror technique, blurring lines between fact and fabrication. First up, let's tackle the basics. It's fiction, folks. Fiction intricately woven into what seems to be reality. The story of the witch originates from the Blair Witch Project, a 1999 film shot in a found footage style. It's crafted to look as authentic as home videos from a family road trip gone horribly wrong. Yet, it was meticulously scripted, grounded in inventive marketing rather than genuine folklore. So, where did the alleged true stories of supernatural events arise? People are drawn to mystery like moths to a flame. When the Blair Witch Project was released, clever marketing like fake docuseries and fabricated police reports made audiences question whether it was all too real. Even the actors' IMDb profiles listed them as missing, presumed dead, for a while. Talk about devoted storytelling. And then there's Burkittsville, Maryland, the real town where this fictional tale allegedly took place. Some residents report strange occurrences, but nothing we can't chalk up to the power of suggestion and a town's infamy. Who wouldn't start seeing shadows with a witch's name looming over them? Sometimes our minds paint in the darkness what our eyes can't catch. Let's explore the beating heart of urban legends. Us. Why do we love a good scare? It's kind of like why people ride roller coasters or watch horror films. It's the thrill, the adrenaline, the dance on the edge of something menacing yet safe when viewed from your living room. Urban legends thrive in this space, giving us shared stories, spooks, and insights into cultural fears. These stories, like the Blair Witch, mix modern anxieties with age-old superstitions, serving as cultural echo chambers. They show us what we're intrigued by, terrified of, or trying to comprehend. They're not merely tales of boogeymen, they reflect our collective psyche. So, what are the real-world implications? Are these legends just fireside tales? For many, urban legends serve a social function, like cautionary tales for behavior, and sometimes they give us a healthy dose of skepticism, making us question what we accept as truth. Yet, what happens when a legend like the Blair Witch supersedes truth itself? When a story is as immersive and real-seeming as this, it stays with you. Some might call it a masterpiece of guerrilla filmmaking. Others, an accidental social experiment displaying how easily we can blur lines between fact and fiction. In closing, while the Blair Witch may never have set foot in Burkittsville, her story leaves footprints in our culture. It's a testament not only to compelling storytelling, but to our own wants and fears, how we actively engage with the stories that scare us. Remember, as entertaining as these tales are, it's crucial to question, ponder, and sometimes simply enjoy them for the art they are. If you enjoyed diving into the legend with us, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more strange and spooky deep dives, and hit that bell so you never miss a mystery. Until next time, stay curious and maybe avoid the woods after dark.